Okay, what else? Application doesn't have bottleneck. Does it come in this itself, like check? Like I'm just putting it in generic bucket instead of putting specific things. Cool. Okay, so these are like good answers, and again the motto of this session is like how can we change our thought process a little bit to ensure that we do all this stuff as well. Okay, cool. So I'll just take it over to Prabhu.
Not in the plan.
It's okay. We never go by plan.
So basically, okay, can anyone, everybody hear like clearly the back rows? Okay. So basically, we'll just talk about what's happening right now and why we need to change the mindset. So right now, if you look at the market, the emphasis is on faster delivery, right? The time to market a product is very less. So initially, like if you go back like 3-4 years back, we used to get a lot of time, like probably like a year or 2 years or even more than that. So the QAs have the luxury of like taking their own time to test, make sure the quality is there, and then we deliver the project or the product. But now like we are expected to deliver probably like in a month, 6 months, but no more than a year, right? Because if you take more than that, the requirements might change in the market, and your product is no longer correct, or it becomes obsolete even before it goes to the market. So now you are actually getting to the area where you are saying that, okay, we have a reduced time frame. How do you actually go about delivering the product with good quality? Right? So instead of 1 year, you have got, let's say, 3 months. How do you do still all this stuff within that reduced time frame and still give the good quality product out to the market? Right? So if you actually think about it, it's just a small changes in the processes that we have to make, and the more important change is in the mindset that we have as quality analysts. Right? So like once we do these changes, you will be surprised to see that how well we adapt. And we need to adapt now, because if we don't adapt as QAs for the faster delivery, the QAs will be obsolete. So to actually aid our process of learning faster delivery, we are going to do an activity now. So everybody will be participating in this, and all of you will be pairing. So can we have a 1, 2, 1, 2 throughout?
Yeah, just count 1, 2, next again 1, 2, just count that.
Okay, 1, 2, 1, 2, 2, 1, 2,
1, 2, 1. Okay.
1, 2, 1, 2, 2, 1, 1, 2.
Okay. 2. Okay.
Vikrant, I think he got left out.
Okay. 2.
Yeah.
1, and you can read the 2. Okay. Okay. So. Yeah. So all the ones, can they come to me? So all the people who counted 1, can they come to me? You are the QAs, and others are the devs in this activity. So all the ones, they come here. We'll do a second iteration. We'll do another round with some different thing. Okay. Okay, you can use any words. There is no restriction of the words. Just explain them the drawing. Don't show it to them. Okay. Devs, don't try to sneak into the drawing. Okay. Be honest. Okay. And after the explanation is done, devs will get 3 minutes to draw the picture. Okay. 3 minutes. In 3 minutes, you have to draw whatever is explained by the QA. Okay. What?
Boss will just listen.
You will just listen. It's up to you. If you can multitask, you can do that. And fine. You can do that.
Okay, one more thing. The first picture is what you have to be explaining. Now the second one. So we have two iterations.
Flower, there is a flower. Okay.
It's a flower picture that you need to describe, and not the other one.
Okay.
Anybody who does the second one will be thrown out of here.
Okay, so is everyone ready? Everyone got the rules?
Yes.
Okay, so your time starts now. QA, explain the drawing in 1 minute to people. Okay, QA, time up.
Everybody here, face up. Like, you stop talking. Like, you QS, your job is done. Now, like, you make the devs start drawing.
QAs, come out. Don't show your face to the devs.
Come out.
He doesn't have pencil.
Okay, all the QS, you can talk among yourself about your devs.
You can creep about them.
Yeah, and the devs are going to be about 3 minutes to finish your drawing. You're already done. Okay, we are going to test it now.
I think she saw the thing. Yes. It's okay, doesn't matter. We know how good people you are in some time. They just have 1.5 minutes now. Is the rule clear to everyone? Okay? So your explanation time starts now. So 1 minute explain.
I don't understand what it
Guys, listen to me please. Okay, so guys, I pick up. Okay, so now I hope QAs would have explained you the drawing. You again get 3 minutes. QA sits next to you, you can ask them questions, but QA can't draw for you. Okay, he'll just explain what you are doing wrong. Okay, so your time starts now.
all the 4 lines should start in the cloud and then
Getting the quality at every stage where dev was doing anything, right? So that's where like dev QAs, if they pair, they can do this and ensure that there is a good quality software that is coming out. Okay? Next is QAs that usually would pair with BA. So usually BA is like business analyst or SME. You can call it as SME, someone who is in your team who talks to the client to get requirements in a better way, right? That's what BA does. So what QA can do by pairing with a BA, right? So does everyone agree for becoming a good QA you need a better domain understanding? Yes. Who gives you that? Your BA or your SME will give you a better domain understanding, right? And usually in Agile, if you see, we write something called as acceptance criteria for our stories. But even in like waterfall, you can write better test cases around if you know the domain well, right? Your test cases will be more meaningful if you pair with your BA or SME. If you have him run down through your test cases once, the test cases will be better. You will also not end up testing unnecessary things which are like not valuable to the business, right? Because your business analyst or your SME will be able to tell you that, okay, this test doesn't hold true for this domain, right? This is unnecessary thing. You would have observed many times you think of different scenarios, but out of them most are like scrapped because they are not related to this domain or this is not really needed in our app, right? So that's where your BA or your SME will really be helpful for you. Next, a QA can pair with customer. Again, what understanding he gets is this. Again, he understands domain better, he can write better test cases, and he'll understand the end-to-end flow of the user journeys, right? What are the most valuable user journeys that are really important for the client? And once you know the user journeys, if someone of you attended Deepak's session, that's what you would automate, right? Which are like high-value end-to-end scenarios that you really need to automate. You will get it from your client, right? Your BA might not be the right person, but your client would be the right person. Because he knows his users, he knows his domain very well, right? Another interesting thing, right? Someone was very happy he found 8 defects or not. I'm not pointing fingers, but in general, that's the tendency that most of the times, like in your organization, managers will say a good QA if he finds lot of defects, right? But that's not a good thing, right? Because you find defects at the end of the cycle. If you find lot of defects, it means you will have to rework the entire thing again, right? Most of you ended up trying again, right? It's waste of resource and waste of money for your client, right? Because you are redoing everything, right? It doesn't make sense, right? So QAs, instead of focusing on finding defects, they should look at preventing defects. That's what you did in the second session, right? You paired with devs, you immediately pointed out, dude, this is wrong. Fix it immediately, right? So the time that took to fix it was less, right? You found a lot of less defects, right? You were preventing defects instead of finding defects. Yes. So that's one of the major intention that if you pair with devs, that would really help you. Cool? Good. We again have to do an activity.
Yeah. So this time don't take too much time. We are running out of time, so we want to complete. So we will do a quick activity. Okay?
Yes.
So you will get reduced time now.
Yeah. We need yourself to divide in 4 groups. 4 people group. Okay, so count 1, 2, 3, 4. No.
1, 2, 3, 4.
2, but then
1, 2,
3, 4.
1,
2.
3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2.
you can be 4. Okay.
Okay, so all 1 to 4, they form their own group.
Yeah, they form their own group. Can you come closer like 1, 2, 3, 4? You go to the back side. Quick. Just keep come closer. You don't have to come here. Just group yourself there. You have 20 seconds. Okay? Guys, listen to the rules, please. You have 20 seconds. Okay? In 20 seconds, you have to make 15 paper hats. And this is how you make the paper hat. Okay? And you should make maximum paper hats. Okay? You should make a lot of paper hats, but there is a twist. Okay? Out of you 4, identify one of them as a BA, okay, and one as a QA, okay. Identify a QA in your team, everyone. Identify a QA. group has a QA? Okay, good. So now every group has a QA, right? So what we do is, the developers, whoever is developer, you will have one BA as well, right? Have you identified the BA?
Yes.
Okay, BAs raise the hand. BA. Okay. Good. So developers, you have a paper. You will draw a paper. You will make a paper hat. Okay. You should have 2 devs. I think so. There would be one BA, one QA. I don't need to tell what QA does, right? And what BA does is he explains devs how exactly the paper hat should be. Okay. Quickly explain them one paper hat. That's it. Okay. So you get 10 seconds. BAs get 10 seconds to explain.
Okay, so you all have to do it then.
Yeah,
They
we are ready to do that. I'll
Guys, 5 more seconds. BAs, 5 more seconds.
I'll say that.
Time's up. BAs, time's up. Guys, listen to me or else I'll start throwing things from here. Okay? Good. So BAs, you would have explained the paper hat, I'll assume that. Okay? Now devs, you get 20 seconds. 20 seconds and 15, right? Or 30.
As much as you can.
Yeah, as much as you can. Whoever makes maximum is a winner. Okay. 20 seconds, your time starts now. Don't count those 2. I know that. I was observing. No cheating, please.
comfort seating.
10 seconds more. Yeah, as much as you can. 10 seconds more. You wait, you can reject the hats immediately. You find a defect in it. It's very symmetric. For QA, it's very symmetric. Okay, 5 seconds more. No, none of them. There should be no gap. Do you see this? Do you see this? Is there any gap you can see in this paper? Right? Did anyone get a perfect hat?
Yes. There is gap in the requirement analysis.
No. Okay, guys. Okay. Point is, you were in a rush to make the hats, right? Everyone agrees they were in the rush to make hats?
Yes.
How many of the devs really concentrated that my hat should be perfect? Okay, kind of very few devs really thought about that, right? Okay? So the point that we want to drive is Prabhu will explain it to you.
So the point is this one. Quality is not only the responsibility of a QA. The quality is the responsibility of the team, right? Just because you are a QA doesn't mean that you are the gatekeeper. That's what we always think, that okay, I can stop the production, the release going into production. Not good. So just think about it. If you worked as a team to produce the paper ads, would the quality have been better? If the devs when they started folding it, they made sure that every fold is perfect, and then QAs come in and they point out the defects there immediately. And the BAs also join in, be very clear about the requirements. They also start testing. Do you think the quality would have improved?
Louder.
Yes.
Yes.
So that's the whole thing, right? Just stop thinking that quality is like a domain of QAs. It's not. The quality is the team's responsibility, and everybody in the team has to contribute towards the quality. That makes sure that you are going faster into the production with less defects.
If something goes wrong on production, don't you think QA are responsible?
It's again
The first question comes to QA.
Yeah.
He has to answer.
Okay, I will ask a question to you. Do you think the production doesn't have defects, right? So that's the mindset that you.
So every release, QA will be asked. I mean, let me rephrase my question. Not does they are responsible, but then they will be asked. And they are the first, people to answer that question. And then it comes to dev. Okay, I did that. So did you do that? Did the merging happen correctly? And all those things. I mean, I agree. It's a collaborative effort. But having said that, I think we all need to realize that QA are the. I mean, people can disagree or agree. We are the people who face the client first. I think whenever something goes wrong on production. So ultimately, being the last link in the chain, I guess we have the responsibility because sign-offs and all we do that. Right? So
Okay.
we are answerable.
It's true, like that's a practical thing that's happening. That's the mindset that we want to change, right? That's why we are telling now, like it's a team's responsibility. If something happens, it's a team's responsibility that, because of which it happened. It's not like one person; it's the whole team that gets together. So once you get this team's mindset, that's when we start improving.
Yeah.
Right.
And just to point to the first exercise we did, right? Like QA was not at the really last chain, right? In the second iteration that we did, he was continuously involved, right? So most of the times you won't find anything major where client will say you did it, right? They won't do that. They will be say, okay, this is a minor defect, and the releases they are with minor defects, right? Unless it's like very important or very significant thing, you are okay with releasing with few minor defects again, right? So that's what we, as Prabhu said, right? We want to change our own mindset, right? Because now, for example, Twitter releases every day, right? QA sits at the last, like, okay, in 2 minutes they have to release and start test, Twitter might not ever release, right? So that's the mindset that we have to change.
And just to emphasize what we are doing, who is responsible for the quality now? The BS. The BS contribute by getting the requirements correct, communicating within the team, communicating with the client, showing that they are getting the correct, we are building the correct things.
Major role playing in quality is the BA. If once the requirement gathering phase is wrong, everything goes wrong.
We'll come to that also.
Yeah.
Most of the times requirement gets changing.
So that's the thing, right? When you actually the QAs also play a role in validating the requirements, right? If we think when we start, if we become involved at the earlier stage and we start looking at the requirements and validate, okay, is this the correct requirement that is that the BA has given you? That means that you are catching the problem with the requirements at the earlier stage, right? Yeah. So the developers, even the developers need to have this mindset saying that okay, when they pick up something that they are developing, even they need to question that okay, this is the right thing that I am doing. And also when they actually start pairing with the QAs, when they deliver it, they need to test also on their own.
And the one problem actually is that it's very tough to sell all this to the management.
Yeah.
People, see, I have experienced this many times that even sharing among the developers is very tough because they think that two guys are doing one job kind of. So their understanding has really to percolate.
So agreed, that's a very fair point. But the thing is at some point of the time we have to make a start. We need to actually change mindset of our role before we can change the other.
If I go to them, they will not accept it. I mean, that's
Yeah, and no,
sad reality.
The point I would say is you not necessarily pair for entire day, right? You can just go talk to them, right? Try to constantly have communication with them. It's not necessarily you always would get a chance to pair, but usually I have seen in many organizations, they are stonewalled. QAs sit separately, devs sit separately, right? So some of the QAs will have to take a stand that no, I talk to the devs. At least I'll start talking to them, right? Not necessarily pair. Pairing is a far-fetched goal, right? But if you start communicating with devs more, your management will see the benefits out of it, right? Automatically, and they will start encouraging that more.
The problem is, I have seen developers don't like their problems pointed out by the QA. So there is friendship part is not there, right?
Friendship cannot happen actually.
Yeah.
I disagree.
Or is it the way we say?
I think it's about the perception.
Okay, guys.
People
That's tough.
we are running out of time. So what we can do is we can just put it in the parking lot We can talk about it after the session. Okay, like I'll just write it down at your point. We can talk about it later.
Yeah. We'll move to the next person. It's a QA. Yeah. So next person is QA. I don't need to explain why QA is responsible for quality, right? That's I just run through. Product owner or client. Do you think he is an important person in ensuring that quality is there? Yes. Good. I don't have to talk a lot. Good. Thank you. And then what we say is the entire quality. When we say that ensure quality, it's team's responsibility, not just QA's, right? Cool. And then we'll just move to quick principles that we ideally should follow when we are doing testing or something. It's called faster feedback. Like when you develop, immediately there is a test and you get a feedback. Remember the first activity that we did, right? When you had QA sitting next to you, this was very quick. So you had very less defects, right? Compared to anything else, right? Next thing. Faster delivery into production, right? I spoke about Twitter, right? When you test anything, test it in a way that it will go in production immediately. Is it ready to go to production? If you have that mindset, if your management comes and says, okay, we have to release in 2 days, you are quite confident, right? I have tested the story, like it will go in production immediately, right? So you don't really have to ponder upon your quality a lot. You know that when I move this story to done, or when I say this requirement or this requirement is really done, I have tested it in respect to production, right? And that's why Twitter releases every 2 hours, I think so. Twitter releases every 2 hours, Google releases every day. New things, new features, Facebook releases every day. So this is the thing that the QAs follow, right? Whatever I test, it should be production ready. It should not be intermediate state. If it is not production ready, I'll move it back to devs. I want it in a better shape, right? That's what you can do. And next is Q&A.
So now we can discuss.
Yes.
No, but then on the point that we say developers do not take criticism positively, isn't it we who are responsible, because we usually would like to criticize rather than say it in a way that we are just trying to improve what you've done very good.
Yeah. So again, the point is like friendship with devs. Can we just have one conversation, please? Okay. So the point is, at least if you ask me, I have been in ThoughtWorks for 5 years. I have more developers as my friends than QAs. Okay. Even when I go and like sit next to them, they'll say, okay, good, you sit next to me so that my code or whatever I'm developing will be like really absolutely of good quality. I'm confident on you, right? That's the trust you gradually build, right? As I said, right, most of the organization, your QA will sit separately, dev will sit separately. You might not even know your dev by face, right? Okay, this is the guy, right? I have worked in a model where my devs used to sit in US, I used to sit in India. Okay, I was the only person in that project in India. All others were like in US. But the thing what I followed was every day I used to send mails, every day I used to chat with them, send them defects directly on the chat. I used to use Skype most of the times at that point in time. Just ping all the defects on the Skype, and in the evening when the dev used to come up, he used to say, okay, I have so many pings, I need to really talk to Vikrant. And then I used to explain them all the defects, right? And they didn't see my face ever, okay? But they were like, okay, Vikrant has tested this, so it should be really good. It should be ready for production, right? So the point is, even if you are separate, you should just start communicating, and that will build the trust, right? If you don't communicate, it's obvious. You won't trust a person whom you don't know by face, or you don't know his given name, right? They will just have an anonymous thing which is called as QA, right? The QAs did that, that's what they will say, right? But if you have like that kind of trust, they won't say the QAs, they'll take your name. For example, yeah, Prabhu tested that story, so we need to talk to Prabhu, that's how they will say. Otherwise, usually I have seen the conversation in the team, QAs did that, we need to talk to QAs. And when they send a mail to QAs are clueless, okay, who tested this, right? They themselves don't really know who tested it, right? So that's the thing, right? Communicate. That's one of the most important things, I would say. And then automatically these things will start falling into place. If you start communicating well, as he rightly pointed, right? If you go and say, dude, you did this wrong, fix it. That's not the way you should tell it, right? You can word it in a different way so that they feel like, you know, yes, he is helping me out, right? Because end of the day, even devs have reviews, right? If they have more stories, their stories or their requirements are mostly having a lot of defects, their review also gets affected, right? So in a way, QAs are their friend. They help them in having better reviews with them. right?
Yeah. Just to add on to that, it's not about we are in competition with the devs. Instead, our focus is about delivering a quality product. And to do that, what should we do? The simple thing is improve the communication within the team. I mean, I consider most of the devs are my friends, and we pay whenever it's possible. And it actually the relationship develops to such a length that sometimes when they realize that the QAs are overburdened with the stories, they actually come and offer help to test. So that would be but the thing is it doesn't start on day one. You need to put some extra effort to build that relationship. And the way you do it is by communicating with them. And we don't point out saying that, okay, oh, you did this, you're a bad dev. We say okay, we can do it better. I'll pay with you for that. So ultimately, every tester or a quality analyst aim should be about getting the product to the market in the least amount of time with a very good quality. And we need to do whatever is necessary to get it done.
Questions?
The only thing cannot accept is pairing is okay, but when you are telling dev to do something like that or something this way, I think the dev is a
or a quality analyst aim should be about getting the product to the market in the least amount of time with a very good quality. And we need to do whatever is necessary to get it done.
Questions?
the only thing cannot accept is pairing is okay, but when you are telling dev to do something like that or something this way, I think the dev is a person who knows his job better than us, who will do in a right way.
Yeah.
The only thing pairing, where it should happen is whenever there is a story, the QA is the person who can analyze the impact better than the dev, I guess. Where they need to identify what could be the impact, what needs to be fixed, and what other things that we need to be considered while developing.
Yeah.
So that way, I think the pairing would be more effective. That is the way that I did it with my dev in my previous company. So
That's exactly the point that we are driving at. The devs know how to write the code better, right? We can't go and tell, okay, you code this way, this is my solution. I can't tell that because I'm not as good as those guys in terms of coding. But we can help them out in what you said. We could explain them analysis, okay, this is going to impact this one. So we can help them out in those things. And that will make a lot of difference.
To add some one more point, most of the time the development
The entire audience has
You have
actually most of the time the development team don't have the entire picture or knowledge of the end-to-end product. In that, wherein the QA have the knowledge of the product or the flow, complete flow. So development team they divide the coding part in chunks between their development team members. So each team member know only one piece, their piece of work, right? So they don't know the impact of the other integrations.
exactly.
Wherein the QA knows better the flow and to endpoints. Telling. So in that case, we can help our developers and tell that you can do it in a better way because your code is interacting with his code or his code, and there we are facing some problem. So in that way, it can be more effective.
In short, that functional issues we have to tell them.
Exactly.
And technical flow or technical impact we need to get from the engineering.
Because the QA team always works in an end-to-end perspective, but developer only are aware of their piece of work, whatever they have to go, particular area, not all the things.
Does the team size play any significant role in all this?
Yes, it has
Usually
to.
small teams work well, but
Yeah.
normally.
So I think we both worked on a project in Agile itself where we had 200 people team, and I think it went well for us. We didn't knew many developers by face, but by just looking at their mail, they would recognize, okay, if there is bug from this side, this would be the guy who is sending the mail. So the point again, right, it's all about communication. How whatever resources you have in your hand, how you can really use them to the best, right? We all are in a way technology companies, right? We all work in technology companies. We have so many things nowadays like Google, Skype, Google Talk and Hangout, emails, phone calls. Nowadays, most of the companies, they have phone calls and all that stuff, right? So use your communication channel better, right? And that would start automatically helping it.
Do you think any facilitator guy would help?
Kind of.
Skype, I know the architect used to do this thing. I mean,
Yeah,
he used to make sure that people communicate in a
Yes.
clear fashion.
Yeah. So again, the point is, you, like at least in our teams, we used to rotate the facilitator who will facilitate different sessions, right? So today, if I am the facilitator, tomorrow Prabhu can be the facilitator, right? So it's again, right? That's what we are trying to say. Change your mindset. Like, you are not someone who always sits at the end, right? Start getting involved at multiple places. Your management will automatically see your impact, and they'll automatically say, no, this guy is making sense. He actually showed it, right? I don't know how many of you know Hindi or something, but there is a saying, right? Chamatkar ko namaskar hai, right? Until you don't show the chamatkar, no one will do namaskar to it, right?
Yes.
So first, if you communicate better, right, within what your constraints are, if they see you are effective, they will start listening to you. But if you just go and randomly say, oh, everything is bad, it doesn't work, no one will listen to you, right? There is another saying, the wolf is coming, there is another thing, right? So just like, if you communicate and people see the impact, your management is always going to listen to you. They are not saying, okay, you shut up. They also want revenue, right? They want better things to be incorporated.
Thanks a lot.